and 8 gold gloves all on display last night, leaving Royals fans feeling like this. Game 2 of Seattle marks the return of Kyle Davies to the starting rotation. Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. Well, it's another great night to be at the ballpark as this mild Kansas City summer continues. Tonight, the Royals have made a couple of roster additions before Game 2 with the Seattle Mariners. Welcome back to the ballpark. Ryan Lefevre with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White, and we began last night talking about Ichiro Suzuki, and John Gibbons, who was filling in as Royals manager last night after the game, said, special players make special plays.
And he is so right. There's nothing Ichiro Suzuki cannot do. He can run, he can throw, he plays defense, steal bases, and John Gibbons was right. I mean, special players do make special plays, and they always make them at the right time.
Kyle Davies will start for the Royals coming up from AAA Omaha, and Josh Anderson is finally in a Royals uniform. A trade from the Tigers, but originally from the Astros organization, traded to the Braves, and then with the Tigers this year, where he was 10 for 19 against the Royals. And Frank, if he can do for the Royals what he did against the Royals, we've got something going.
Right, and that's what the Royals are looking for, Ryan. They're looking for somebody to come in here and replace the speed they lost with Coco Crisp being out of the lineup. A guy that can be in the top of the lineup, steal some bases, and just bring a different type of game. And as you refer to the bunting part, I think that's what he can do good for this ball club.
And he'll bring some stolen bases, where he had 13 with the Tigers in 15 attempts, and the Royals are last in the league in stolen bases and in stolen base attempts. Sacrifice flies, he had 2 last night, and we figure Josh Anderson will give the Royals lineup some infield hits and some bunt hits. Even though it was a loss, the Royals got a lift from Yuniesky Betancourt playing against his former team, and in his last 2 games, he's hit for the cycle.
Well, he's hit the ball well, too. He's driven the ball on the home run, and last night we saw him drive the ball for a triple and a double in the alley in right center field. He seemed to be sticking to his plan and getting good pitches to hit, and that's usually the formula for some success at the plate.
Of course, it all begins with the starting pitcher, and Kyle Davies is up from AAA, making his first start for the Royals in almost 7 weeks. We'll talk more about him right after this. Ball brought to you tonight by Panera Bread. Explore a menu full of hearty soups, hand-tossed salads, inventive sandwiches, and savory breakfast items. Panera Bread, where every detail matters. Well, Josh Anderson isn't the only former fourth-round pick who will be putting on a Royals uniform tonight. Kyle Davies drafted in that round by the Braves back in 2001. Finished strong last year, 4-1 in the month of September, and got off to a good start again this year as the Royals won 4 of his first 6 starts, lost 7 of the last 8, and his ERA in the last 5 games was over 7. And the Royals are hoping to see an improved Kyle Davies tonight against the Mariners. Here's the key of pitching report.
Well, Ryan, Kyle was sent to Omaha to improve his strikes in the strike zone consistency, and he did that at a 64% rate. So he'll be able to go out tonight and show us exactly where he's at in terms of when he gets into the game tonight.
The lineup he will face, presented by M&I Bank, and pretty much the same lineup as last night that the Mariners used to score 7 runs. The one change, Rob Johnson will be in there at catcher, replacing Kenji Jojima. Well, the Royals are hoping to get a lift from a young player, Josh Anderson. The Mariners are getting a lift from a young player in Michael Saunders. Last night we saw him not only swing the bat well, but lay down a couple of good bunts. He'll be in left field the rest of the year for Seattle. The first pitch is next. Hi, Frank.
Ryan, it's awful nice to see you today.
Wow, did you hear that?
It's a great opportunity to learn from experience.
Oh, here we go.
I get all these accolades all the time, so I'm gonna pass them on.
See, he had me going for a while there, but then he had to put the boots on. Don Wakamatsu's had quite an impact in his first year with the Mariners, as they are 4 games above 500 after being 40 games below 500 last year. Right now they have the best turnaround in all the major leagues. So Kyle Davies facing the Mariners for the first time this year and making his first start for the Royals since June the 19th. He gave up 7 earned runs in less than 3 innings against St. Louis, giving up 3 home runs, and was sent to AAA the next day. He's made 2 starts against the Mariners, both of them last year, and pitched well. Gave up just 3 earned runs in 15 1/3 innings. But he'll be tested right away with Ichiro Suzuki. It takes ball one. Suzuki opened the game last night with a home run off the right field foul pole against Luke Hochevar. Right to Alberto Callaspo. So a good start for Kyle Davies. Good start for the Royals. Suzuki off the bases and one down. It's 80s retro night, so it's only fitting that it's in the 80s and a cool 83 degrees at 7:10. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. An outfit that may have appeared in the movie Flashdance. 0-1 on Russell Branyan.
Go back to the days of the ankle socks.
Leg warmers, headbands, feathered hair. Russell Branyan, 2 hits, 2 RBIs last night. Still no balls, 2 strikes. And speaking of feathered hair and headbands and leg warmers, here's Joel Goldberg.
Yeah, I love that. Dexy's Midnight Runners and Duran Duran and all that good stuff. Split didn't know what I was talking about. I understand that. Josh Anderson, as you mentioned, joined the team, and it's been a whirlwind for him. He was designated for assignment on July 24th, traded July 30th, went home because his wife was pregnant. She had her son yesterday at 8:11 in the morning. He spent the night at the hospital and then flew out first thing this morning at 4 a.m. from Lexington to Atlanta to Kansas City. He is now here. When you get a chance to talk to him, you hear that big Kentucky twang. He said that his family has had a cattle farm for generations in the off-season, guys. His hobbies, golf and cows. He said that we've piddled with cows a long time. I think that's the first time that I've talked to a baseball player where they've used that phrase, guys.
My first as well. Alex to the outfield grass. 2 up, 2 down against Davies in the first inning. And now Jose Lopez. Lopez 1 for 5 with a run scored. He's hit in 6 straight games. And his season received a lift when Don Wakamatsu moved him to the number 3 position. So you take some young hitters, and Lopez has been around for a while, but not all that long. You take some guys, you move them into a premium position, and you get the worst out of them. Others, you get the best out of them.
Well, some of them see it as a confidence builder from the manager, thinking that they're able to hit in that spot. And I remember when I was moved to the 3rd spot after an injury to George, I mean, basically I want to stay within myself, but at the same time, it was just a lot of confidence from the manager putting you in that position.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Lopez. But what you pointed out, I think, is the key for any hitter when they make that change. Stay within yourselves. Don't try and elevate your game to a level that you don't possess.
And that's true, Ryan. You go into another position, you still got to hit strikes. And as long as you hit strikes, you got a chance to get base hits. It's like a pitcher would say, well, I don't know what my role is. Well, your role is to throw strikes. So regardless of how you come out of the pen or where you are in the rotation, you still got to throw strikes.
That's put quite simply.
But isn't that the most overused term by players? I don't know what my role is. Well, your role is what the manager telling you. Right? So if you're a pitcher, regardless of when you come out, you got to throw strikes.
Ah, the simplicity of Frank White. Here's his lineup tonight with DeJesus, Bloomquist, Butler, Billy the DH tonight. Mark Tian will be at first base. Miguel Olivo will be behind the plate with Brian Pena getting a lot of starts back there lately. And Mitch Meyer will bat ninth. He'll be in center field. And for the second time this year, the Royals will face left-hander Luke French. Here's the Kia scouting report.
Brian, Luke French is not overpowering, and the thing that he does well is he does a good mix. He changes speeds well. And if you look at his first, second, third time through, he favors the hitter the deeper he goes. And in his last start against the Royals, we scored the third time through.
David DeJesus 0 for 3 last night, but scored a run. Had an RBI with a sac fly. So David right at 260 coming in tonight. He was 0 for 3 against Luke French back on July the 8th when the then Tigers lefty picked up his first and only major league win. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tigers beating the Royals 3-1 in that game, with Luke French going 6 in the 3rd innings, giving up just 1 earned run. And traded at the deadline July the 31st from the Tigers to the Mariners in a deal that sent Jared Washburn to Detroit, and Washburn was pushed around a bit last night in his debut for the Tigers. 23-year-old Luke French. David hits it hard and into left center field. Saunders over to cut it off, and David with a wide turn will hold with a single.
So French is going to be around the plate, Ryan, and here he just leaves a fastball up out over the plate, and David does a real good job of driving the ball to left center field. Just letting it get deep and then trusting his hands to get the ball out there, and did a good job.
And now the Mariners ready for a bunt as Willie Bloomquist steps in, but Willie taking a strike. Beltre at third was on the grass. Willie 1 for 4 with a walk and a run scored against his former team. Right at Ichiro Suzuki. 1 down in the bottom of the 1st. Luke French is from Salina, Kansas, as far as where he was born, but he was only there for about 3 months, and his family moved to Colorado. But as the story goes, when he was in 5th grade, his teacher asked his class to write out a timeline for their lives, kind of like an essay. And growing up in Colorado, for some reason, he was a big fan of the Seattle Mariners. He loved Ken Griffey Jr., whom he's a teammate of now. Randy Johnson, Jay Buhner. That was his team when he was growing up. And part of his timeline was that he was going to be a Seattle Mariner by the age of 21. And he missed that by a couple of years, as he's 23-year-old now. But here he is making his Seattle Mariner debut. Oh, 2 on Billy Butler. 2 hits and an RBI last night.
I wonder if he remembers that teacher. I mean, that would be kind of neat.
Wonder if he remembers what grade he got on that paper and sent it to the teacher. And now playing alongside the greatest Mariner. Back to French, going to try and turn it into a double play, and does. 1 for 3, and the Royals are done in the 1st. Texas 3G network. AT, your world delivered. That's 80s for you. We got the big blonde electrocuted hair look and the collar up buddy next to him. Although I think that style's coming back in. Guys are wearing the polo shirts with the collar up. That's the extent of my fashion knowledge.
That would be the yuppies.
Ken Griffey Jr. 1 for 3, a couple of walks and an RBI last night. 1 ball, 1 strike. He has seen Kyle Davies 12 times when Kyle was with the Braves and Griffey was in Cincinnati. And Griffey 4 for 12 against Davies. He throws it up against the screen. 2 balls, 1 strike.
That's the one thing with Kyle. Sometimes that fastball will get away from him and it just starts climbing and just keeps right on going. That might be what Trey Hillman was making reference to, is just being able to command your fastball a little more in the zone. You can throw the high fastball, but you just don't want to miss everybody when you throw it.
3 balls, 1 strike. Well, one thing that Kyle has fought in the major leagues, and specifically with the Royals, being really amped up early in the game. Made a good pitch on Griffey, and Callaspo wants it on the outfield grass, so Kyle has retired the first 4, and we've seen Kyle have to go to other pitches, his changeup and his curveball, because sometimes it takes him an inning or so to calm himself down where he can control his fastball.
And that's something that over time you should be able to really control as a pitcher and as a player. I think it might be all that anticipation of maybe giving a 1, 2, 3 inning and getting off the field, but he's got to be able to from a professional standpoint work himself through that. And that was nasty right there. That was a right-handed hitter trying to pull a pitch away, and then get that top spin. It just comes right back up off the plate.
Kept it off his lips though.
Just barely. Ooh, I've done that before, and it just does not feel good.
It's 0-2 on Beltre.
He's probably a lot tougher than I would have been. I probably would have went down on that one.
A couple of trainers, stretcher.
No stretcher though.
Beltre back from the DL last night, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts and committed an error. No swing, says Andy Fletcher, the first base umpire. Beltre was benched by the Mariners back in May. Got off to a slow start on offense and defense. At one point had gone 0 for 23. Change up, broke his bat, and again it's Callaspo, 2 down in the 2nd inning. Saturday afternoons were made for baseball, and this week Fox brings you the national game of the week as Jason Bay and the Red Sox head to the Bronx to take on Derek Jeter and the Yankees. Fox Saturday Baseball this week at 3 p.m. on Fox. So a good start for Kyle, 5 up, 5 down. And now goes after Franklin Gutierrez, who had 2 hits and an RBI last night. Getting a chance to play every day after seeing part-time duty with the Cleveland Indians, and he's making the most of it, hitting a .293 with 12 home runs. And also getting a chance to go back to his natural position, center field. 1-1. May have been the best defensive outfielder the Cleveland Indians had, but they had Grady Sizemore in center, so Gutierrez played a lot of right field. There was an opening in center when the Mariners acquired him from Cleveland. 2-1.
He's been doing a real good job on the fundamental things too, Ryan. Just he's tied for 2nd in the AL with 9 sack bunts, and that's always a good thing to see when you can put your home runs and your sack bunts along with a .293 average. That's pretty good.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, that's the way the Mariners are going after it. The top 3 guys in the American League right now started with the Mariners. Unievsky Betancourt, who's now at the Royals, leads the league in sack bunts, followed by Franklin Gutierrez, and then followed by Ronnie Cedeno, who was with the Mariners and was traded away at the deadline. So that's the way the Mariners have been trying to generate offense this year. Get a guy on, get him over, and then try and get him in.
Well, they also lead the American League just following that line of thought with 74 with the combination of sac flies and sacrifice hits. 74 leads the league.
2 perfect innings for Davies. Well, they're not. I was thinking maybe he was going for the Tom Cruise look in Risky Business. Tom Cruise made those Ray-Bans popular. I guess it's more of a Don Johnson, Miami Vice type of look that guy was going for. Or maybe that's just the way he dresses.
Give him a little pink shirt underneath his white suit.
A little pastel thing going.
Get him a Lamborghini, you know.
0-2 on Mark Teahan. Here's tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. Ichiro Suzuki making a great play to end the game, but was it greater than this back on May the 10th? Who has the more difficult play to end the game? Teahan again struggling to lay off that high fastball, is down on strikes. So A, Torrey Hunter, B, Ichiro Suzuki with this play to end the game last night. Had to deal with the tarp and the wall. Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals. A for Torrey Hunter, B for Ichiro Suzuki. Standard text rates apply.
Well, Ichiro gets my vote on that one. I mean, he had so many obstacles to contend with on that play. I mean, it's got to be real difficult to run full speed. You have the wall to contend with, the tarp to contend with. You got to go into a slide, and then you got to make this catch. Otherwise, John Buck is still hitting with the bases loaded.
Aspo hitless last night, is 1-for-1 with a 1-out single. And another thing that Ichiro Suzuki brought up himself after the game was not being that familiar with the ballpark. It's the visiting ballpark, so you're not sure how many steps you have coming up to the wall, how many steps you have once you hit the warning track, because every ballpark is different. So he was a bit tentative going into that feet first slide, but still made the catch.
Oh, just an outstanding play, Ryan. I mean, I'm just looking at it from the sure-handedness of the catch and the concentration that it took to make that catch.
Two-hit game for Olivo last night, and he scored twice. A change-up, and he's out in front. It's 0-1. Olivo was once part of a pretty high-profile trade going to the Seattle Mariners in 2004. You might remember the White Sox picking up Freddie Garcia from Seattle. In that same deal, Miguel Olivo, who was a big catching prospect, one of the best young catchers in the big leagues, went from the White Sox to the Mariners, and he spent parts of 2 seasons with Seattle and then was traded to the Padres. One and two.
Well, Luke French is really kind of basic. He's that fastball, slider, and changeup. He doesn't have a lot of pitches, but he's around the plate. So the Royals going to have an opportunity to put the ball in play. They just got to make sure that they get the ball that they can hit, because he's going to change speeds. He's going to take something off his fastball and use his slider.
When the Royals saw Luke French about a month ago, his fastball anywhere from 87 to 92. Miguel trying to stay back and go the other way. It's still a ball and 2 strikes. Sometimes you hear about guys pitching backwards. What does that mean?
Well, basically what it means is when you have counts where you normally get fastballs, they throw changeups, or they throw a curveball, something other than a fastball. Say if you go 3-1 and you're looking fastball and they throw a changeup or they throw a curveball. So that's pitching backwards.
Another foul ball. And I guess along the same lines, when a hitter is thinking changeup or curveball, these guys can slip a little 87, 88 mile an hour fastball by you.
Well, that's what they try to do. And then once the thing that make pitches tough is when they can do that. You can throw off speed and hitting counts, you're going to be successful. And because the hitter's always going to hit off the fastball, so the more you can change speeds in the strike zone, the more successful you're going to be.
Olivo having quite a battle. He's fouled off 4 pitches. And I don't know if this is the case with Luke French, because he can still get it into the low 90s. As Dave Sims, television and radio broadcaster for the Mariners, did he come up with that foul ball?
He might have pulled a Frank White. He might have just got out of the way and let it go by and hope it didn't hit somebody behind him.
This one will stay in play, and Wilson wants it at shortstop. 2 down. Well, you can teach kids about value in baseball this summer while they're out of school. Aren't many of those days left. Thursday nights at Kauffman Stadium are $3 youth nights. Excluding September the 24th, you'll get $3 view level infield tickets for kids 14 and under with every regularly priced ticket purchased the same day. A couple of hits and a run scored for Alex last night. And just to finish the thought, Luke French can get it into the 90s, but I know some guys, Jamie Moyer would be a good example, Tom Glavine, where a hitting coach might tell the hitter his changeup, or let me get that straight, his fastball is his changeup, because they're going off speed all the time, that the actual change of pace pitch is the fastball. Lopez can't find the grip, and the Royals have 2 on, 2 out.
Well, they have a shift on Alex right here, and they must be expecting to pull against the lefty, which you don't see too often, lefty versus lefty. You see where Lopez is at second base, and Wilson is a shortstop up the middle. So Alex rolls over on this pitch just to the right of the mound, and that's that confusion right there, Ryan. That's one guy not taking charge of this ball, and they come close to each other. No one makes the play.
And now ball 1 on Yuniesky Betancourt, who doubled, tripled, and drove in 2 runs in his first game against the Mariners.
As a pitcher, you really hate not to record it out on a ground ball like that, but when you have that kind of shift on, it's always easier for the shortstop to come across because he's going toward the bag and have the second baseman come to his right and try to round the ball and still make a play. That's a tough play for a second baseman.
2-1. That might have been the pitch that Betancourt was looking for and kind of cocks his head back after taking that pitch for a strike.
Well, this is an outstanding pitch from the pitcher right there, Ron. That's right on the corner almost, and he really wouldn't be able to do much with that pitch there.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Betancourt before the series saying this isn't anything special going up against the Mariners. It's just another series. But common sense would tell you that's not the case.
That's never the case. Anytime you play in your own team, you want to stand out. You want in your mind, you want to say, I'm going to show them how they made a mistake, let me go. I mean, it's just good to downplay it, and it's good to not try to get your old team all excited about what you're doing, but inside, you're burning inside. You should be.
First at bat, Royals had a runner at second with nobody out, and Betancourt grounded out to third. Then an RBI triple and a run scored in the first for the 4th inning, and then an RBI double in the 6th. Runners take off again, and Betancourt fouls it away again. Mariners thought that they had quite a double play combo for a long time to come with Betancourt at short and Jose Lopez at second base. They both were signed to long-term contracts. And now Jose Lopez will have to get used to playing with Jack Wilson. A lot of foul balls for the Royals against Luke French. In fact, 10 in this inning. So 10 of the 22 pitches thrown by Luke French have been foul balls. Well, 8 pitches, and I don't know if Betancourt knows this yet or not, but his new hitting coach would consider this a quality at bat anytime you make the pitcher throw 8 pitches or more. And takes a little bit low for a walk, and they're loaded up for Mitch Meyer. And that's something the Mariners would have liked to have seen a lot more of from Yuniesky Betancourt.
I'll tell you, he took a good pitch too, Ryan. That's a pitch that's really, when you see in the ball well, you take pitches like that. When you don't see the ball well, you swing at pitches like that. You feel like it's maybe a little too close to take.
Slow roller to the right side and a race to the base, and Luke French right in front of Mitch Meyer, and the Royals leave the bases loaded in the 2nd inning. 80s retro night at Kauffman Stadium. No score. Kyle Davies has begun his return to the big leagues with 2 perfect innings. They get Jack Wilson, Rob Johnson, and Michael Saunders in the 3rd. And a strike to Wilson. 2 hits, a run scored for the Mariners shortstop last night. And down quickly, no balls, 2 strikes. Hitting .286 for Seattle. He was hitting .267 for the Pirates in 75 games. This is his 6th game with the Mariners. One and 2. Of the 6 outs, Kyle Davies with 1 out on the ground. 2 fly balls to right and 3 infield pop-ups. The Mariners really not seeing him well yet. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jack Wilson has faced Kyle Davies 8 times over the National League, and he's 0 for 8. Had him reaching and fouls it back our way and goes to our right. Here's one of our interns, Kyle Haas, over polishing Joel Goldberg's golf clubs. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Joel's got a whole army full of interns. The Joel Goldberg Institution is quite an operation and takes a lot of manpower to get him on and off the air. Almost hit him. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Speaking of Kyle, we're going to hear from him a little bit later. Unfortunately for us, perhaps fortunately for them, their internships are coming to a close as school is about to get into full swing. Kyle goes to Fort Hays State, where Bob Davis broadcast for a long time, and Kyle's going to give us a few reports during the game as he wanders around Kauffman Stadium, summing up his intern experience as Jack Wilson fouls away another Kyle Davies pitch, and there's a thrilled young fan who brought his glove. Just looking for someone. There we go. Somebody give me a high five. Good changeup. So Kyle Davies, that is, strikes out his first. It took 10 pitches to get Jack Wilson, but 1 down in the 3rd inning. Tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison shows Kyle Davies at 94. That's where he's topped out in the first 2 innings. Luke French at 91. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Fooled Rob Johnson badly. It's 0-1.
Well, they're taking some real strange swings at Kyle Davies. I mean, Jack Wilson did a good job fighting off some tough fastballs, and Kyle came back with a changeup. It was outstanding pitch, and that first pitch cutter that was just an odd swing right there. It's like, here it is, oh, it's gone. You know, just that's real good deception on Kyle's part.
Great fastball. Down in the zone, on the corner at the knees, 1-2.
Yeah, if he stays right there, I mean, if he's hitting the glove, he's going to be tough. And you know, he has a way right now of being able to utilize his fastball up and in like he did to Jack Wilson, and then he came back with fastballs on the outside corner, and then he threw the changeup for the strikeout. So he's utilizing all of his pitches at good times right now.
Well, you mentioned the cutter, and remember his first start in Chicago, the Royals' first series of the season. And you and I looked at each other a couple of times. Is that a cutter? Because I think Kyle Davies, fastball, curveball, changeup, but the pitch sure looked like a cutter. And finding out from Bob McClure later that it was, and that he has a good cutter. And one of the challenges for Bob McClure was to convince Kyle Davies that that was a good pitch. It wasn't just his fourth best pitch. It could be one of his best pitches. That delivery is up in the zone, and Johnson doubles to left. The Mariners have their first base runner with one out in the third inning.
And Rob Johnson got a fastball up, Ryan, and then that's what he turned on. But I agree with you. He doesn't use this cutter, say, like Banish uses this cutter. This ball is supposed to have been on the outer half of the plate, so you see when this ball runs back to the middle, and Rob Johnson's sitting there waiting on it. So that was the first time he just really missed his target.
And that brings up the rookie Michael Saunders. Had an impressive night last night. 3 hits, 2 runs scored. Laid down a couple of good-looking bunts. One for a base hit. The other he was trying to sacrifice, but it was so good he ended up with another bunt base hit. And took his average last night from 148 to 219. Change up over the outside corner. It's 0-2.
It says 4 of his 7 hits, Ryan, have been on bunts. And I mean, that's a pretty good ratio, I would believe, for bunt base hits.
Let me correct the count. It's 2 balls, 1 strike. First pitch was ruled a ball to Saunders. With Johnson at second base and 1 out. Goes with a changeup again, and now it's 3-1. Saunders from British Columbia, Canada, and last summer was on the Canadian Olympic team that played in China. Up the right field line and fair. So Seattle's going to take a 1-0 lead. And the ball gets hung up in the corner. And Saunders will end up at third base with 1 out. Where the padded wall meets the chain link fence of the Royals bullpen in right field, the ball stopped right there. And Willie Bloomquist was expecting that thing to roll around to him like a puck would in an ice rink, but it just stopped.
Well, he did a real good job dropping the head on his 92-mile-an-hour fastball down and in to him, and there the ball normally does roll all the way around, but the run scored on this play. Rob Johnson just easily walked across the plate.
And the Royals will bring the infield in with Ichiro Suzuki at the plate. So kind of a gamble here early in the game. I don't know if there's anyone in baseball who manipulates the bat better than Ichiro Suzuki, but the Royals are going to try and put some heat on him, and have 4 infielders breathing down his neck. 2 balls, no strikes.
The one thing he does on ground balls, he very rarely hits a ground ball straight up. Usually it's going to be back through the middle or between third and short, but very rarely right at an infielder where he can make a play.
Past his first base coach, Lee Tinsley. So Saunders with his first major league triple, his second major league RBI. Asking you earlier, what was the more difficult play? Torii Hunter saving the game against the Royals in May, or Ichiro Suzuki last night in tonight's sprint, you call it? A for Hunter, B for Suzuki. Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, a space, and then A or B. Suzuki takes a strike and down he goes. Kyle strikes out his second, 2 down. Right now 69% going with Torii Hunter. Maybe because that was a fair ball, and that literally did help save the game. Miguel Olivo was the one who hit the ball, and if the ball goes out, it ties the game against Brian Fuentes in the top of the 9th inning. Suzuki's a great play and a critical play, but that was a foul ball. John Buck was batting with the bases loaded and 2 down, and the Royals down by 1. One ball, 1 strike on Branyan, who popped out to third in the first inning. A lot of us had to wait, and I think even the first base umpire had to wait to see if he caught the ball, because it just kind of disappeared behind the tarp. Olivo looking all over the place for the ball. It's down by his feet, 1-2 on Branyan. And Suzuki even admitted that he probably could have had the ball go off of his glove and quickly put it in his glove and put his glove up in the air. Now this is what we were all seeing here, or maybe what we didn't see. Does he make the catch? Who knew? Russell Branyan didn't know. The Royals ball boy down the line, he had a good look at it. Seattle takes a 2-0 lead. Branyan down to the count, 1-2. Drives in his 3rd of the series. And his 59th RBI of the year, adding to his career high. With more on that catch last night, let's find Joel.
Well, it's interesting because we had Russell Branyan on as our post-game show guest, and you could see that he was sort of blocked. He was really there and the closest to Ichiro, but he couldn't see beyond the tarp. And I said, what did you think? How did you know? And he said that he heard Jose Lopez yelling, he's got it, he's got it. And so that was his first indication, hearing the yell, because he couldn't see Ichiro at all, even though he was that close, guys.
The first base umpire was Mike Estabrook, who's behind the plate now, so he's running over. Let's see, he's got to see through Branyan. He's got to see the corner of that edge of the tarp.
It seemed like he would have ran more toward the down the line rather than up the line, where the tarp would block his view.
Like Frank White, Ichiro Suzuki with a mantle full of gold gloves. They both have 8. 2-1 on Jose Lopez.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's going to end up with 9.
And maybe 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, that play last night was just outstanding.
Torii Hunter was the other subject of our sprint, you call it, also an 8-time Gold Glove winner. Alex will go to second. That's the inning. The Mariners get RBIs from Saunders and Branyan to take the lead. coaching inner-city baseball at Swope Park in 1965, then began organizing groups of friends to build baseball diamonds and bleachers, becoming a driving force behind several inner-city sports-related initiatives in our community. Tonight, he watches the game from the Buck O'Neill Legacy Seat. Congratulations to Jerry Gibson. 0-1 on David DeJesus, singled, leading off the first inning. 2 batters later, was cut down when Billy Butler grounded into a double play. Royals had the bases loaded in the second inning with 2 outs, but Luke French able to get Mitch Meyer on a ground ball to first. Speaking of inner city kids, David DeJesus, among a few other Royals, hosting some inner city kids at Kauffman Stadium today in the Buses for Baseball program. 40 inner city kids enjoying the game, transportation, tickets, and a welcome from Royals players. David is out here in the 3rd inning. We told you about our intern Kyle Haas, and he files this report.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm out here at Rival Sports Bar, one of the places I've really enjoyed being out here this summer for a couple reasons. 1, the great cuisine that's been served up here. 2, awesome view of the new K and all the renovations, being a part of the outfield experience. And number 3, it's the place where we have our pre and post game show every broadcast. So if fans are out and around the ballpark, they should definitely try to pop in here and check out a broadcast. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Nice job. You're not supposed to be that comfortable on the air when you're an intern in college, are you?
I'm still not that comfortable.
When I was his age, I don't think
it was great. He was great.
I think I was fluent in any languages. Willie Bloomquist fly to right in the first inning. Out of Arizona State, Willie Bloomquist, drafted by the Mariners, and his natural position was second base. He was blocked at the big league level by Brett Boone. They thought about moving him to shortstop, but they had Carlos Guillen, and at third base they had Jeff Cirillo at the time, so there was no place for Willie to find a regular spot, and that's when they decided to make him a utility infielder, and he's made a career out of that. And he singles to right with 1 out in the 3rd inning. Fox Sports Kansas City and the Royals present a special telecast on Saturday. We're going to recognize American troops serving overseas throughout the game. Troops worldwide will watch the game on American Forces Network and will connect with the men and women of the Missouri National Guard who are based in Afghanistan. If you're planning to be at the game that day or watching Fox Sports Kansas City, we ask that you'll help us send a message of appreciation of their dedication and service. Again, that's Saturday, Royals and the Oakland A's. Billy, deep left field. All the way back is Saunders. Butler ties the game with a home run.
Take a look at this swing here, Ryan. This is a fastball on the inner half of the plate, and Billy really got through it, got extended well, hit his head on it, and I think he can tell right away that he hit the ball where it was going. You can just tell the way he left the plate. You can see how the hands turn over once he gets through the ball, and he knew right away that that was going to be in the bullpen.
Now, let me ask you this. Is that a bad pitch or a good swing?
Oh, well, that's a strike, and that's a good swing on a strike.
Do you think that's a strike? I thought that pitch was up. Here's at regular speed. Okay. I was thinking that pitch was up enough that if Billy were to pop that pitch up, you'd say, probably should have laid off that pitch. But if he hits it out, of course, it's a mistake. You left it up. But, I mean, that thing was about letter high.
Well, it didn't seem to be quite that high, but but I tell you, it sounded pretty dang on good.
Well, as fans know, between the two of us, we have 8 Gold Gloves, 1 World Series championship, and 1 retired number. You have the majority of those awards, so I'll just defer to you. Two down for Alberto Callaspo, who singled in the second inning.
We just saw different things, that's all.
No, I mean, I agree with you, and I saw it a second time, but I thought that might be one of those pitches where, you know, like I said, if he pops that ball up, you think, yeah, you might want to lay off that pitch. But if he hits it out of the ballpark, well, obviously you're not going to argue with the final result. Callaspo pops out to second base. Billy Butler with his 12th home run, 51 RBIs to lead the Royals, and he ties the game. Billy Butler with a 2-run home run to tie the game. Kyle Davies gave up 2 in the top of the 3rd inning with RBIs from Michael Saunders and Russell Branyan. So on the mound in a 2-2 tie with Ken Griffey Jr., Adrian Beltre, and Franklin Gutierrez coming up. Kyle getting Griffey on a pop-up in the 2nd inning. Pops him up again, this time reaching the outfield, and Willie Bloomquist makes the play. Looked like Kyle might limit the damage in the 3rd inning after this strikeout of Ichiro Suzuki with the infield in and the RBs pitch by pitch.
Well, that's probably the biggest strikeout of the night right here so far, Ryan. He does a good job of moving the ball in, changing speeds, and this dropped this curveball for strike 3.
A big out, but Russell Branyan followed with a single to drive in the 2nd run. Good pitch to Adrian Beltre, who popped out to second, like Griffey, in the 2nd inning. So he's 0 for 6 since coming back from the DL. Through the right side, there was a big hole with Callaspo guarding the middle. So Beltre has his first hit since coming back. 1 on, 1 out. Royals baseball brought to you tonight by the State of Missouri Tobacco Quit Line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Franklin Gutierrez flied out to right in the 2nd inning. Now, when I tell you that Kyle's last start before tonight for the Royals was a loss to the Cardinals on June the 19th, the details might be a little fuzzy, but you'll remember if you've been following the Royals when I give you these details. It was the game when the Royals decided to pitch to Albert Pujols in the first inning, and he hit a 2-run single. And then in the 4th inning, the Royals decided to pitch around Albert Pujols, and Ryan Ludwig hit a grand slam. And it's just one of those games where you saw the effect of Albert Pujols, whether you pitch to him or not pitch to him, and the dilemma that comes up every time he comes to the plate with somebody on base.
I'll tell you, that's one that the manager always has to think about. And some managers will pitch to him when there's nobody on base, some won't. But if you got somebody behind him that can make up for what for not pitching to him, like Ludwig did, then that really, like that old catch-22 thing, you just get caught in it and you just guess wrong all day long, and that's what it was in that game.
In that same series, Albert Pujols hit a grand slam. That was in the Sunday afternoon game against Gilgamesh, and he hit another one last night to win the game for the Cardinals. He has 36 home runs and 97 RBIs, and we have 2 months to go in the regular season.
MVP?
I would say so. He's a Triple Crown candidate, although he's 19 points behind Hanley Ramirez, who is leading the league in hitting. Ramirez at 340, Pujols at 321, but Pujols leading the league in home runs, RBIs, runs scored, total bases, slugging percentage, on base percentage, extra base hits, on and on and on. Adrian Beltre at first base with 1 out. Beltre will steal a base. He has 9 this year and only caught twice. Mariners right in the middle of the pack in the American League in stolen bases. They're 8th in the league. Beltre not running, and Gutierrez slices it into right center field. Placed perfectly so that Beltre can go first to third. So a pretty good swing on a pretty good pitch.
But did a good job. It looked like one of Kyle Davies' occasional cutters here. This ball, Gutierrez, like he was trying to hit the ball through the hole at first base, but he stayed right inside it and hit a line drive over Caspo's head. And most times you try to pull that ball, you break your bat, but he got that hand inside and just sliced it right out of the inside part of the plate.
So first and third, 1 out for Jack Wilson, who lays down a bunt, and Davies can't field it. A run home, everybody's safe. An outstanding bunt by Jack Wilson. There is nothing the Royals could do defensively. There is nothing the Royals did wrong defensively on that play, as Wilson gets Beltre to the plate.
Well, it's a real gutty play, Ryan. And you got to feel real confident that you can get this ball down and get it by Kyle Davies in order to get this run. It can almost act as sort of a safety squeeze bunt also, but he did an outstanding job getting this ball down. And this is typical Seattle-type baseball.
So Wilson drives in his first since joining the Mariners. And with 2 on, 1 out, Bob McClure out to visit with Kyle and Miguel Olivo before facing Rob Johnson.
Well, Lee Tinsley, the first base coach, we were talking about the fact that they're bunting a lot, and he's the bunting coach for Seattle. And he said when they're home, they try to bunt at least twice a week, where they get on the field and actually practice all the different types of bunts.
So not just the 2 obligatory bunts before batting practice begins, but actually with live pitchers?
Not with live pitchers. You're normally going to use coaches to throw,
okay.
but the bunts have to be more realistic bunts in order to get them down. And then you're practicing all the different situations. Usually in BP, you just got 1 bunt to first and maybe 1 bunt to third, like a sacrifice type bunt. But you don't practice a drag bunt, a push bunt like what Jack Wilson just did right there. So we've seen everything, with Michael Saunders. You saw the drag bunt last night. You saw the sac bunt, and now you see a push bunt from a right-hander with runs at first and third.
Lee Tinsley, a former first-round draft pick of the Oakland A's. Davies throws it right into center field, and nothing Mitch Meyer could do. He was running up there to get it. Threw it right through Gutierrez's legs. So first and third again with 1 out. An air charge to Davies.
Well, it's a timing play, but he pulled the ball on the shortstop side, and you're trying to put it on with the second baseman. You throw it on the side, and you put the runner between you and the ball, and that's what happens. So that's why when you have a left-handed pitcher on the mound, you don't want to put that play on with the shortstop for the same reason.
Rob Johnson doubled and scored in the 3rd inning. Well, getting back to the bunts, I remember my high school principal used to preach to us, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And I've said this for years. You watch batting practice, and guys bunt during batting practice before they start taking their swings. But they do it with about as much passion as eating Brussels sprouts, just because they want to get to the swings. But to really be a good bunter, you have to get out there and spend a lot of time wanting to be a good bunter.
And that's where it starts. Sometimes if you want to really turn up the heat, you bring out the Ponza machine and you sit it on the mound and you turn the velocity up and make it a little more realistic. So, but you have to kind of be careful. Sometimes the ball's not perfect. They kind of you don't want to get anybody hit on the fingers. But that's why coaches throw most of the time.
So 2 down, and now Saunders, who tripled for the first time in the big leagues in the 3rd inning, driving in a run, and then he scored. So Saunders is 4 out of 6 in this series with 3 runs scored and an RBI. And a changeup, late call. 0-1 on Saunders.
Well, I've been really impressed with his ability to lay off the tough balls down and in. He's shown a lot of patience at the plate and really shown a lot of game awareness with his game last night. It runs good for a big guy.
One ball, 1 strike. Talking to one of the Seattle broadcasters, Rick Riz, and talking about the impact that Ken Griffey Jr. and Mike Sweeney have had on this young team. There's Rick doing the radio broadcast. He's been with the Mariners for a long time, along with Dave Niehaus, who went into the Hall of Fame last summer. And the talk about how, especially with Griffey, because I mean he is deity in Seattle, but Griffey and Mike Sweeney together, their impact, their batting average is seen in Michael Saunders' batting average and Franklin Gutierrez's batting average. I like the way he put that don't look at Griffey's numbers and Sweeney's numbers. Their impact is seen in the improvement of other players. Another run scores, this time on a wild pitch. So Gutierrez to the plate, and Seattle has taken a 4-2 lead.
When we talked to John Watson when he was up here, being a former catcher, we said, what's the toughest ball to block? And he said that fastball that's down in the dirt, you don't have as much time to react. And that's what you saw right there. Fastball that Miguel Oliva didn't get over quite well as much as he wanted, and got under the glove and went back to the wall.
Now he takes a walk. So this inning starting to get away from Kyle Davies. He's committed an error. He has thrown a wild pitch to get a run to the plate.
3 hits and now a walk. And Ichiro Suzuki comes up as Trey Hillman moves to the telephone. Suzuki is grounded out and struck out. His strikeout coming last inning with the infield in and a runner at third base. 0-1. No balls, 2 strikes.
You know, Kyle seems to have a good curveball tonight, Ryan. That seems to be the pitch that Suzuki's had the most trouble with. He doesn't throw it a lot, but he's picked good spots to throw it.
Through the right side. Wilson going to be waved home. Saunders to third. Boy, he's a good-looking runner too, isn't he? Just gliding from first to third. Seattle has taken a 5-2 lead with 3 runs in the 4th inning. Suzuki with his 28th RBI of the year.
Yeah, they really got to like what they see in him, Ryan, the way he moves around for a big guy. But Ichiro here, Kyle strikes him out on a curveball the last time. He throws another curveball, and being the good hitter he is, he's sitting there waiting on it and pull the ball into right field for a base hit and RBI. I mean, you look at this, you look at Saunders, you say just let the ball go, and they just stretch those long legs out, and then he just keeps going. I mean, Seattle really got to like what they see in Michael Saunders.
So Suzuki continues to move closer to his 9th consecutive 200 hit season. He is now at 158, leading the American League. 0-1 on Russell Branyan. 34 pitches last inning for Kyle Davies, 23 in this inning, so he's up to 85 with 2 outs in the 4th. Our James B. Nutter pitch count. Russell Branyan with 24 home runs. That's a career high. 59 RBIs. That's a career high. And there have been plenty of teams who have taken a chance on Russell Branyan because of his great power. And coming into his own now with the Mariners. He's played for Cleveland, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Tampa Bay, San Diego, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Milwaukee again, and now Seattle. So he's got a suitcase full of stickers. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They don't do that anymore, do they? I remember when I was a kid, we would travel and come back from a trip and have all those stickers on your suitcase from different cities. That's what George Bailey wanted in It's a Wonderful Life. Remember, he wanted that trunk so he could put the stickers on it. Up the right field line, on the chalk. You see the paint kick up. Saunders scores, and now Suzuki is going to score from first base. It's 7-2 Seattle in the 4th inning. Kyle Davies making his first start for the Royals since June the 19th. Doesn't get out of the 4th inning. And the Royals go to the bullpen early again tonight. 4 2/3. As Ramon Colon isn't getting a huge ovation as he steps on the mound. It's a response to the kiss cam as an elderly couple at the very end of the kiss cam didn't realize they were on there. The fans were cheering, trying to get their attention, and with a smooch, a huge ovation. And a rough finish to the inning for Kyles. He gives up 5 here in the 4th, which included a throwing error of his own and a wild pitch. Last night, with John Gibbons acting as manager with Trey Hillman back in Texas, the Royals had to go to the bullpen in the 6th inning. Tonight in the 4th. And this is the 9th Mariner to step in this inning. Jose Lopez is 0 for 2. Russell Branyan just hit a 2-run double to score Saunders and Suzuki. This inning began with Ken Griffey Jr. flying out to right field. Base hit left field. Branyan around third to Jesus. Throws low to Gordon. It's a 6-run inning and a 6-run Seattle lead. And now Griffey comes up with the chance to make the first and the last out of this inning.
You see right now they're leaving the balls up out over the plate, and the Mariners are really taking advantage of it right now. Kyle got behind and left some pitches up, and Colon leaves the breaking ball up out over the plate here for Lopez to get a base hit down the left field line.
So Davies allows 8 runs, 8 hits in 3 2/3 innings. Two and 0. We're talking about how Griffey's had an impact on the young players, and maybe the biggest impact he's had has been in the clubhouse, where he has as much fun as anyone in the game and has really loosened up a lot of guys who are feeling the pressure of playing at this highest level and dealing with the ups and downs, and more downs than ups. Just reminding these guys, hey, this is supposed to be fun.
Well, he was having a lot of fun in there last night.
And his teammates will have fun with him, as he is that guy. First out and the 3rd out of the same inning, but in between, the Mariners score 6. 8-2 Seattle after getting 6 in the top of the 4th inning. Here's tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And Miguel Olivo hanging in there with Joe Mauer. That's a career high for Mauer. Olivo's career high is 16, with Mike Napoli, Jason Varitek with 13, and Jorge Posada with 12. Royals have a home run tonight from Billy Butler in the 3rd inning. That tied the game at 2, but Seattle just gave Luke French a 6-run lead. Olivo, Gordon, and Betancourt coming up here in the 4th inning.
Well, French is going to be around the plate, Ryan. So the Royals still have a lot of time left in this ball game. They just basically can't get it all in one at bat or one inning. They still just have to methodically just go up there and get base hits and hope the bullpen can do the job for them tonight.
Luke French with a 6-run lead, working quickly, and Miguel Olivo, trying to disrupt his timing, has stepped out a couple of times. Now he hits it into right center field. Gutierrez lost it for a moment, and Suzuki trying to help him out, and it drops. It is that time of night where it's tough to find the ball, as the ball is a light shade of gray, and that blends in with a rubbed up baseball. So Olivo's at 3rd base with nobody out.
Well, this situation here, Miguel takes the fastball and drives it to right center field, but once Gutierrez saw he didn't see the ball, Itro made the commitment to go ahead and make this catch for him. He's calling it, but Gutierrez never got out of the way, and that's where the problem developed right there. So he did his job coming over to help him out, but once you don't see it, and you might as well just get out of the play and not keep drifting in the direction. And Itro saw him and just pulled back just enough to not catch the ball.
It's ruled a triple for Olivo, his 3rd of the year. The Royals obviously would love to get all the runs back in a big bunch here, but just take what the Mariners are giving them, and with the infield back, a ground ball would get Olivo to the plate. And Alex instead drives it to deep right. Back goes Ichiro. Gone. Alex's first extra base hit since coming back from the DL.
He does a real good job of getting a fastball here, Ryan, and just turning on the 88-mile-an-hour fastball, and done a good job hitting it into the party porch out there in right field. He just really puts a good swing on this ball, hits right down on the pitch. He knows right away he's got this one, Ryan, just how he leaves the batter's box. But that's the Royals taking advantage of a mistake, and rather being a solo home run to get 2 RBI out of it.
So it's a 4-run game with a lot of game left. Luke French had given up 2 home runs in 29 in the 3rd innings before tonight, so he had done a good job of limiting home runs when he was with the Tigers, but 2 home runs in 4 innings tonight, less than 4 innings tonight. And now Betancourt, who walked his first time, and French throws a changeup for a strike. Well, we'll just complete that sentence for him. All I want is Alex Gordon to hit a home run. You can't take him home tonight after the game. Still 0-2 on Betancourt. The Royals still have a ways to go, but important to get some runs in this 4th inning. If Luke French knocks down the Royals 1-2-3 in the 4th, that might be the end of the game.
It would have been a tough comeback, and I know going into the game, you really feel as a team that if you got a pitcher that's going to be around the plate, not overpowering, If you just be patient and get good pitches to hit, you got a chance to score some runs.
Two and two on Betancourt. And he hits that hard to right field, slicing, and so Suzuki has a little longer run, but runs it down, one away. Coming up on Saturday, the first 20,000 fans are going to get this Frank White replica Hall of Fame figurine. Royals and the A's at 6:10. The outfield gates will open at 4, so come on out early and get part 3 of the 4-piece collectible set and enjoy the brand new outfield experience. And judge for yourself, is Frank smiling or grimacing?
I'm mad.
Sure don't look like it.
No, I tell you what, there's sometimes you want to appear to be a nice guy, and there's times that you don't. Turning double plays, you don't want to be thought of as smiling. But it looks good sitting on your mantle. It's always nice to have that smile on your face. Well,
that looks to me like Reggie Jackson just hit into a double play in the playoffs.
But I guarantee you, in my head, it's not a smile. I didn't get to play with that one. You know, I didn't get to say, I didn't get to look at it, critique it, and you know, that's a little different smile on the big boy out there.
On the big boy. Meyer to left center field. So the Royals with 3 hits in the inning. Meyer thinking about 2 and holds a throw coming in high. So 1 on 1 out to the top of the order and David DeJesus. The Royals have come up with 8 hits in 3 1/3 innings against Luke French. David DeJesus with the first hit singled in the bottom of the first and was wiped out on a double play ground ball. Ball 1 inside. Well, this series so far doesn't look like a couple of teams at the bottom of the American League in runs scored. A 7-6 game last night, and now 12 combined runs already, and we're not even done with the 4th inning. This series had the makings of a bunch of 3-1, 2-1 games. Not so.
Last night was sort of like being in a tug of war, and who's going to get pulled in the mud first. And tonight is kind of shaping up to be the same type ball game. It's going to be how effective the bullpens are going to be in the last 9 outs of the ball game.
3-0 on DeJesus. Luke French is at 67 pitches in less than 4 innings, and now they begin to move around in the Mariners bullpen. Chris Jakubowskis begins to warm up. Last night it just came down to which bullpen was going to take control of the game. And for Seattle, their last 3 relievers, beginning with former Royal Miguel Batista, a scoreless 7th, Mark Lowe a scoreless 8th, David Ardsma with a scoreless 9th. So the Royals scored 1 run against the bullpen in 5 innings. DeJesus, shallow left center, and Jack Wilson wants it, 2 down. In contrast, the Mariners scored 3 runs against the Royals bullpen in 4 innings. Don Wakamatsu getting his first shot at managing a big league club. He's been a candidate for several years. Former big league catcher, and he is a great find for the Mariners. Aside from his playing time and his coaching time, he has been a bench coach for every team in the American League West. So he has plenty of knowledge of the teams that they'll be playing the most with the unbalanced schedule.
And I think, too, Ryan, maybe that has something to do with the fact that he says, okay, we're not going to go into this and try to outslug everybody. We're going to play a complete game. And I think that the fans appreciate this type of baseball that Seattle Mariners are playing also.
Oh, and 2 on Willie Bloomquist.
Well, this is Lopez. He checks to see where the first baseman is. Usually the second baseman has the best angle to this play, but I can't quite understand why he would go into a slide that early. The only thing I could possibly think of in that situation, Ryan, is that I've ran far enough.
I think it's simpler than that. I'm going to go all the way back to Little League, where every kid wants to go home with a dirty uniform. So he figured nobody was watching. Everyone's watching Branyan. He's going to get a nice little grass steen on the knee. Would it be the right knee? Left knee.
Tuck the left knee under.
Yeah.
But he's still a good 10 feet away from the plate. But he was sliding. Brandon was sliding. Ichiro was sliding. Everybody. As Kevin Shank would say, an all sliding team.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Willie, just like Betancourt, probably has some feelings for playing against his former team in this situation. And you always want to play well against your team that you love.
Some more intense than others, as Betancourt traded away, and there might have been some ill feelings between the two. Willie Bloomquist was a free agent. He left on his own. Pulls that into the left field corner, but foul.
Well, he hit that ball a long way. He got the fastball down and in. He dropped the head of the bat on it, and I don't think I've ever seen Willie hit a ball any further than that.
He has a career high 3 home runs this year, with his 3rd home run in the last road trip in Baltimore. Bounces it to Lopez, and that's the inning. The Royals get a 2-run home run from Alex Gordon to make it a 4-run game. Base hit since coming back from the disabled list. getting a couple of runs for the Royals in the bottom of the 4th inning and making them feel like they're still a part of this game. But now it's up to the bullpen to hold the Mariners right here.
Well, that's what it's going to come down to. The Royals are already into their bullpen, and the Mariners, we don't know what they're going to do next inning. But as was last night, the bullpen's going to have to get through it and give the Royals a chance to win this game. And
going to the bullpen very early is Kyle Davies in his return, only able to go 3 2/3 innings. The Mariners scored 6 in the top of the 4th inning. One of those runs coming around to score after he was out. Roman Colon coming on to face Jose Lopez. He singled in the 6th run of the inning. Beltre got the first hit of the 6-run 4th, a single to right, his first hit since he is back from the disabled list from a second left shoulder surgery since this past off season. Right center. And Willie Bloomquist calling off Mitch Meyer. Looked like Meyer was calling for it first. And Bloomquist taking charge. One down in the 5th inning. Royals Alumni Fantasy Camp next year in early February, the 1st through the 5th. $3,700 includes hotel, all ground transportation, 2 meals a day, 2 uniforms, 2 games a day, plus a game against the former major leaguers. On Thursday, there'll be an awards banquet. On Friday, you're going to get a locker in the Royals Major League Clubhouse. And surprise, the Major League Clubhouse and training staff will be there. You'll be there with George Brett, John Mayberry, Dennis Leonard, Willie Wilson, Jeff Montgomery, John Wathan, and smiling Frank White. 1-1 on Gutierrez. He singled and scored in the 6-run 4th inning. Right center again. And once again, Bloomquist. 2 down.
You notice Mitch Meyer and Bloomquist on those last 2 fly balls. They really have taken a. They both are stopping and take a look at each other, but to make sure they don't run into each other. They both are looking. Sometimes they're looking twice before they decide who's going to make that catch.
Well, the center fielder is usually the outfielder with the most range, and he has priority, but that doesn't mean he has to make every single catch.
You just got to make sure you don't get a fly ball to center when it's fly ball to right field.
Look at that. Somebody brought their cat, and it's run on the field. Now, you might remember one of the most classic bloopers in history with the Mariners here. And a member of the Mariners grounds crew trying to catch a kitten. And maybe you've seen the highlight, maybe you haven't, but went out there, picked up what looked like a little harmless kitten. And as he was carrying it in, the kitten scratched him and bit him. Hilarious. So who is going to chase down this cat?
It wouldn't be me. It just wants a way out. Just show me a way out. I'll leave. That's a good-sized cat too.
Showing its teeth.
I think it's one where the cat jumped in the stands and ran across a couple of the people.
I've seen that one too. Nobody really wants this job.
I think if they open the gate, I think it'll run in the gate. There you go.
You can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Now, if that were a black cat, you'd wonder what crazy thing was going to happen tonight. Because that cat crossed the paths of many major leaguers tonight. If you're superstitious. Back our way and overhead. That is Jim Street, who is a writer from Seattle. He wore an Ohio State hat yesterday and a Michigan hat today. And his reasoning, I just want to keep him guessing. Now, of course, that cat is going to be arrested and is going to spend the night in jail because you do not run on the field in the middle of the game.
I just don't think anyone really wanted to pick that cat up. No. I think they thought they did, but they really didn't want to.
Betancourt in front of the bag. It's Jack Wilson. Alone with a 1-2-3 fifth. Bread. Explore a menu full of hearty soups, hand-tossed salads, inventive sandwiches, and savory breakfast items. Panera Bread, where every detail matters. Billy Butler hit a 2-run home run last time up. It is 80s retro night, and I'm trying to jar my memory. Is that the group Frankie Goes to Hollywood that used to have the shirt that said Frankie says fill in the blank?
I don't know if we watched that in my neighborhood.
2 hits for Butler. Trying to say your neighborhood and my neighborhood were doing different things in the 80s?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, in this age of political correctness, I guess sometimes you have to tell it the way it is. I'm guessing that if you went home and went through your music library, you would not dig out a Flock of Seagulls CD.
Not even,
okay.
Not even close.
All right. Martin is grounded out and struck out against Luke French. Struck out on a pitch not much lower than that one, and as we've been talking about recently, that's a pitch that Tien has had trouble with, and it doesn't take long for the league to pick up on that.
Well, they'll just keep throwing it up in there and see if you'll lay off of it, and especially lefty versus lefty.
To the right side, Lopez out at second, and Wilson no throw as Butler takes him out of the play. So one down, Tien at first base. Royals and Farmers Insurance will salute uniform heroes, including military, police, and fire personnel. That's coming up this weekend. Uniform heroes can get half-price tickets for all 3 games at the stadium box office, and will salute the military on Saturday and honor police and firefighters on Sunday. Iasco to the right side. Lopez, nice play, and again a force out at second base.
Wilson and Lopez, they've done a real good job managing the game. The first 4-6, Wilson just took the throw with no intent of trying to throw the ball to first base here. Lopez makes another great play to his left. And again, Wilson says, hey, that just one out, we're just playing an out at a time, and that's the way to do it.
Miguel Olivo tripled and scored last time up, and he's popped to short. Miguel 3 for 6 in the first 2 games with Seattle with 3 runs scored. Out in front of a changeup, 1-1. Seattle's big inning, a 6-run 4th. And they had an 8-2 lead. Billy Butler in the bottom of the 4th hit a 2-run home run to make it 8-4. '85 pitches in 4 2/3 innings. 1 out away from qualifying for the win. And in his Mariners debut, you can imagine if he's a little nervous pitching for a new team. Even Jared Washburn, who was traded to the Tigers in the same deal, he took the loss against Baltimore last night, and he's been around for a while, but anytime you're playing for a new team, it's nervous to have a butterfly or 2 or 1,000.
Well, you want to go out, you want to be impressive when you go on the field as a pitcher or an everyday player. You want to do something that the rest of the guys say, well, yeah, we're glad to have this guy on our ball club, and everybody's looking for the positive.
Scoreless 5th inning. tonight. Here's our Coors Light freeze cam. Billy with a 2-run shot against Luke French in the bottom of the 3rd inning. That tied the game at 2. And then Alex Gordon in the bottom of the 4th, making it 8-4. Coors Light freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Your thoughts?
Well, I think that's 80s. I mean, that's when punk rock became popular. Wasn't that the early 80s? That's when we started seeing the spiked mohawks and the dyed mohawks. He probably had one of those haircuts back in the 80s. Rob Johnson, Michael Saunders, and Ichiro Suzuki in the 6th inning. Johnson rather, has doubled and scored tonight. The Mariners for a while had 3 catchers. They had Kenji Jojima, Rob Johnson, and Jeff Clement, who is from Iowa. Clement was traded away to the Pirates in the deal that brought Jack Wilson to Seattle. That opened the door for Rob Johnson to get more playing time. Jojima is the one that's making all the money. He got a 3-year contract extension last year, but Johnson might be the future of the Mariners behind the plate. And he takes a leadoff walk against Colon, who had retired the last 4. And now Saunders to the plate. Mariners scoring all 8 of their runs against Kyle Davies in his return from AAA. Kyle going just 3 2/3. Another good game for Saunders. A triple, a walk, 2 runs scored. He scored 4 runs in the first 2 games. And he's added 94 points to his batting average in the last 3 games. Of course, he's only had 33 at bats, but going from 148 to 242. One ball, 1 strike. Mariners beginning the year with Endy Chavez, the former Royal, in left field. So they thought they had outstanding defense in the outfield, and they did, with Chavez in left, Gutierrez in center, Ichiro Suzuki in right. Endy Chavez injured a knee in a collision with Yuniesky Betancourt. Down to second base is Rob Johnson. That might be a pass ball. That sounded like it got a lot of Miguel Olivo's glove. And it is ruled a pass ball. Center field, Meyer getting behind it. Not sure if he was going to tag. Johnson was using the base like a starter's block as a sprinter, but then as he was getting into position, kind of stumbled and decided to hold. So 1 on, 1 out. Maybe you missed the delay we had when the Cat was on the field. So we had a Cat delay, if you will. And during the delay, the fans lining up at Sheridan's get some frozen custard in the outfield experience. Suzuki lays down a beautiful bunt. 3 Royals can just stand and look at it. First and third, 1 out.
I think the one thing the Royals have learned so far in these 2 games, Ryan, is that the guys that will bunt, you have to come in and take it away and force them to swing the bat. And I mean, Ichiro just, I mean, this is just too easy right here. This is just a perfect bunt. So they're doing an outstanding job of just taking what the Royals are giving them. Now they catch them back, they bunt, and they catch them in. They try to hit the ball by them. And so you just got to play the game back and forth on defense, just like you do on offense.
And now Russell Branyan, who has driven in 3 runs tonight and 5 in the series. By the way, in regard to the cat, it didn't look like it had a collar on it, and sometimes a wild cat or some wild cats will live in a building or a basement of a building, and so I thought maybe that thing just came out of the bullpen somehow and got onto the field. But a member of our crew says that a fan was spotted dropping the cat on the field and left. So here's to that fan being identified and having PETA on their front lawn for the next 6 months. That's terrible.
That's bad. I mean, you want to even smuggle a cat into a ballpark. You know, how does that happen?
Suzuki runs. Olivo down to second. And Ichiro Suzuki with his 23rd stolen base. What kind of person brings an animal into a major league ballpark and drops it from left field onto the field?
I can't say. I can't say on live TV.
Okay, well, we'll wait till the commercial break and you can tell me. Two and two on Branyan. Last night, taking a look at their lineup, and it required a double take to see Branyan as a number 2 hitter. This is a guy that teams look at as a number 4, number 5 hitter because of his power potential. Just foul off the first. The Mariners using him as a number 2 hitter.
I think what they like about him batting second is that he can pull the ball in the hole. And as much as Suzuki gets on base, I mean, you don't have to waste a bunt right there. He's got a chance to make it first and third right away. So you're helping him by giving him that hole to hit in. And we saw last night, Castro tried to take it away, and he opened up another hole for him up the middle. So it's a pretty smart move.
And the Royals have the same defensive alignment right now with Cayaspo way over to the right. We saw Branyan hit one well to the right of second base last night, which you figure is a routine ground ball to the second baseman, but there was nobody there.
Well, I like him where he's at against a right-handed pitcher. Against a left-hander, I would probably move him more straight up.
Malone strikes him out. So 2 down, and now Jose Lopez. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Jose Lopez tomahawks it to left field, and the Mariners are going to get 2 more. So Lopez is driven in 3, and Seattle is back out to a 6-run lead.
No, I can't even tell you how he hit this pitch. I don't know how he hit this pitch. I mean, this ball is running way in on his hands, and he really just pushed his hands forward and got the top head of the bat to it quickly, and he was able to keep that ball fair. But that ball was really boring in on him, and he recognized it and got on top of it, and did a real good job of hitting a line drive to left field.
Griffey fouls it straight back. Griffey is 0 for 3. He made the first and the last out of the Mariners' 6-run fourth inning. One ball, one strike. 622 home runs, which is 5th all time. He was the fastest in Major League history to 350, to 400, and to 450 career home runs. And then the injuries, especially when he was with Cincinnati. Griffey with the Reds from 2000 until 2008. And he was on the DL 8 times over that stretch, including 3 different surgeries. You're not talking about hangnail type of injuries. He had some serious ones. After years where he seemed invincible.
But playing those years on turf in Seattle, then going to Cincinnati and playing on more turf, that will take its toll on you.
Alex has a long run in from third, and that's how Griffey gets his first hit. So Griffey 1 for 4 and 2 on for Seattle.
This is a good pitch back along, a good changeup. Griff gets out front, hits right off the bottom on the bat, but Alex is deep at third base and just didn't have a chance on this ball at all.
And now Adrian Beltre, who's 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored, bounces it to Callaspo, second base, and that's the inning. The Mariners have their second 6-run lead of the night after getting 2 in the 6th.
Dwayne will win $400. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Dwayne will win $25 grand from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Royals have hit 2 home runs. A pair of 2-run home runs, one from Billy Butler, the other from Alex Gordon. Miguel Batista, who pitched for the Royals, will come on for the Mariners in the second straight game. He had a quick 1-2-3 7th inning last night, and that was the first Mariner on the mound that took control of the game and led to Mark Lowe's scoreless inning in the 8th and David Aardsma's scoreless 9th, although Aardsma, with the bases loaded and 2 outs, needed a great play from Ichiro Suzuki in foul ground in right field to get out of the inning. 1-1 to Alex, his first extra base hit since coming back from the DL in the 4th inning. Homer to right field off of Luke French. Two and one. Left side, tough hop on Wilson and into left field. So Alex has his 3rd hit of the game.
Well, this is what Kevin Seitzer would love to see Alex do a lot more, Ryan, is drive the ball hard on the ground to the left field side of second base. And this ball here, Jack Wilson went over, had a good beat on it, but it just might have hit a shoe print or whatever, a shoe mark, and the ball came up and got over his glove for a base hit.
Betancourt is walked and flied to right on a good play by Suzuki. The walk for Betancourt is just his 12th of the year. To Beltre. He'll play it to first. So 1 out with Gordon moving up to second base. Our next telecast in high definition will be tomorrow night. Game 3 with the Mariners. Bruce Chen is scheduled to start for KC against Jason Vargas. First pitch 7:10. Royals Live 6:30. Brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. 1 strike on Mitch Meyer. Grounded out with the bases loaded in the 2nd inning, and that ended the inning. Singled in the 4th. Oh, 2. First time Mitch has been in the starting lineup since Sunday afternoon when he had his best game this year. Drove in 3 runs and the Royals' only win. And Tampa Bay also threw out a runner at the plate. Not just any runner, B.J. Upton, one of the league's fastest runners. One ball, 2 strikes. Miguel Batista has been around for a while. Last night talked about all the teams he's played for, including the Royals. 38 years old. 2-2. Pitched in 14 games for the Royals in 2000. Been used in a variety of roles. Some teams have seen him as a starter. Others have seen him as a middle reliever. He has a season in his big league career where he has 31 saves. He did that for Toronto back in 2005. There aren't many guys like him where you get to the big leagues as one thing and you do that for a few years, you make a change, you have some success, and that's pretty much how you remain. I mean, he is the depending on what that particular team he's with needs, has filled a variety of roles.
And that's just being real even, Ryan. That's just like going in with no pretensions. I mean, the thing about the big leagues is it's not a lot about what you want to do. It's what the opportunity that presents you, that they can present you, that give you an opportunity to stay in the big leagues, and that's what he's been able to do. And you have a lot of guys who get so hung up on what they're being asked to do versus, hey, I'm in the big leagues, so whatever I need to do to stay here, I'm going to do it.
And as we talked about earlier, Frank, if I'm the bullpen and I say, what's my role?
I would say your role is, when I call your name, is to throw strikes.
Oh, you said it much better earlier. Pitchers want to know what their role is. Your role is to throw strikes.
And if you're a player, your role is to go up to the plate and hit strikes. Keeps you in the ball game.
Batista, one of the more interesting Royals that we've had here in the last 10 years, very interested in poetry. It'd be common to see him sitting in his locker and jotting down in a journal. He has published a poetry book in Spanish. He has also written a book about a 14-year-old serial killer. He wants to study law. At least that's what he wanted to do when he was with the Royals when his Major League Baseball career is over. And when he's with the Royals, I remember in his locker he had a poster of Albert Einstein.
I do remember that, yes.
With the famous Albert Einstein quote beneath it, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." My favorite Miguel Batista story, and I've said this before, when we were in Detroit and there was a weather delay and it started to hail hard and everyone's running for cover, players are running off the field, fans are going from their seats to below the covering of the upper deck, and there's Miguel Batista standing in the Royals dugout watching ice fall out of the sky, and afterwards saying, "Let me tell you something, I'm from the Dominican Republic. Ice is something we put in our drinks. It doesn't fall out of the sky." He had never seen that before, and he was absolutely fascinated as ice was falling out of the sky and pelting him in the face. Which proves the point. Imagination is more important than knowledge.
Poetry and imagination.
The knowledge that ice falling out of the sky at high velocity might injure your face was not as important as the imagination of watching ice fall out of the sky. De Jesus 1 for 3 with a single in the first inning. One ball, one strike. Rob Johnson doing what we've talked about Joe Mauer does with the Minnesota Twins. When he goes through signs, we'll first begin with a sign where he touches different parts of his body, then the finger signs between the knees, so two different sets. 2-1 on De Jesus.
Well, one could be for location and the other one could be for the sign itself, and that's just because of run on second base, they change up.
So rather than use the fingers and point in a certain direction, fastball, and they'll use one of the legs to mean inside or outside. Instead, touching the knees and the shoulders and the mask. Jesus almost clipped on the knee. It's 3-1. And a walk. So 2 on, 2 out. Bloomquist coming up. Coming up on Friday is the next Fireworks Friday. The Royals are beginning a 3-game series with the Oakland A's. 7:10 first pitch. A fireworks spectacular after the game presented by Hy-Vee and Pepsi. Tickets at 1-800-6-ROYALS, Royals.com, area Hy-Vee food stores, or the stadium box offices. So Gordon at second, to Jesus at first. Willie Bloomquist is 1 for 3. And Batista having a tough time finding the strike zone, and he's going to get a visit from Rob Johnson. It really is never a good time to be all over the place, but if there is an especially bad time, it's when you lead by 6 this late in the game.
Well, it seems like you can't get the signs together, or something's going on that keeps forcing them to delay, and usually it's about, if you're using 2 sets of signs, you know, and remembering what you're calling or remember what you're trying to throw, so just make sure they're on the same page.
Off the knuckles, and Johnson runs out of room. Nice crowd here tonight for 80s Retro Night, and it's also Independence Honda Buck Night. Disappointing night for the Royals so far, down by 6, but another nice crowd coming out and enjoying New Kauffman Stadium on another mild night, at least for August the 5th. Game time temperature was 83 degrees. Could very easily be 15 degrees warmer than that. Bloomquist into shallow center, and this will get Alex Gordon to the plate. It's 10-5. So Bloomquist for the 2-hit game.
Well, just another good job of hitting by Willie Bloomquist. His fastball, 95 miles an hour, ran way up in on him, and you see how he pulls his hands in, doesn't try to pull the ball, just fights it right back through the middle. And Dave Owens all the way, sending Alex on this base hit.
Billy Butler has 2 hits, including a 2-run home run. And a sinker is a little bit low. Billy faced Batista last night. In fact, was the first one to face Batista in the Royals' half of the 7th inning, and fly to the warning track in right field. One and one. Billy has taken over the team lead in RBIs with 51. He had been tied with David Jesus. Two balls, 1 strike. Don Wakamatsu, even though his team leads by 5, he's in a similar position that Trey Hillman's in. He's going to have to use quite a bit of his bullpen to get through this game. And even though He has some help in the bullpen right now with Sean White warming up. He'd hate to have to use 2 guys to get through 1 inning. With his team in front 6 runs when this inning began, now ahead by 5. Just hoping he can get 1 inning from Miguel Batista, but Batista has been laboring, and it all began with Alex Gordon's single. He's come home on a Willie Bloomquist base hit. David DeJesus has walked, and he just can't quite get that 3rd out. Bases loaded, 2 down. And Don Wakamatsu did not want to make this walk to the mound, but I think he realizes that Miguel Batista hasn't found it, isn't going to find it, and doesn't want to risk the Royals getting right back in this game. So Sean White to face Tien. Now the Royals trying to hang in there. They've been down by 6 2 different times tonight, scoring a run in the bottom of the 6th inning, and now the base is loaded. And Sean White is the second reliever in this inning. 6-run lead for Miguel Batista, only able to get 2 outs, allowing a run to score, and leaving behind 3 base runners for White. Will face Mark Tien. Alex Gordon has scored on a base hit from Willie Bloomquist, and now it's DeJesus, Bloomquist, and Butler on for Tien, who is 0 for 3. He went around.
It was like Mark's really anticipating him and pounding him inside so hard, Ryan, almost like he was anticipating something no land, and his fastball's away and he just takes a half swing at it.
0-2.
You can kind of see how his body is after he takes that swing and how he's back on his heels, and that's what happens when you get pounded inside and you're not swinging at strikes. And that pitch there is normally a pitch that Mark would just drive to left center field.
Nice save by Johnson, keeping DeJesus at third base. The Royals this year have gotten 7 home runs and 35 RBIs from their number 4 hitter. Two and two, and because of a need, since Jose Guillen has been on the disabled list, Trey Hillman has been batting Mark Tien fourth.
it's just been hard for him to find someone that's been consistent. You know, Jacob has struggled, and anyone else he's used in that position has struggled. Even when Jose was healthy, he still wasn't driving in runs at the pace that he was driving in last year.
So to Jesus at third, he walked. Lundqvist at second, RBI single. And Butler at first, he walked. All of that against Batista. Beltre. The inning is over. The Royals get one on Willie Bloomquist's single. Mariners by 5 to the 7th inning. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Well, the real difference in this game tonight is Seattle's 6-run 4th inning. Seattle with 2 in the 3rd. Billy Butler tied it with a home run in the bottom of the 3rd, but Seattle was 6 in the 4th. Juan Cruz takes over in the top of the 7th inning. Royals getting 2 back in the bottom of the 4th. Make it a 4-run game. Mariners with 2 in the 6th. Royals with 1 in the bottom of the 6th. Franklin Gutierrez leading off against Cruz and rolls it to Alex. So 2 pitches, 1 out. Gutierrez 1 for 4. And up comes Jack Wilson. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI. Big crowd on a night that feels a lot more like September the 5th than it does August the 5th. There's, I want to say it's a crisp night, but there's a little bit of a chill in the air as the wind right now appears to be blowing out of the northeast, which is keeping the temperatures mild in Kansas City. As we talked about last night, this is not going to go unnoticed by Mother Nature. We're going to pay for this at some point.
Feels good right now, though.
Right center field, which is wide open. Bloomquist sliding to knock it down deep, and Wilson will hold at second base with a 1-out double.
Now this is a real good piece of hitting. This is 0-2 right here. This is the pitcher's pitch, and he does a great job just staying back and just putting the bat on this ball. If Cruz wanted that pitch again, he'd throw it in the same spot, but Wilson does a great job of of rounding first base and coming into second base.
Here's the catcher, Rob Johnson. 1 for 2 with a walk. So the Mariners have scored 17 runs in less than 2 games. When they were here in early May and the Royals swept a 2-game series, they scored 2 runs. Royals beating the Mariners 3-1 and 9-1. At the time, the Royals were first in the American League in ERA. Wilson is held at third as Meyer skies it all the way to the plate, and with a throw down to second, Wilson scores from third, and on his way to third and safe is Rob Johnson. One team executed that play very well, the other didn't.
What you saw right there, Ryan, is one mistake led to a couple of other mistakes, and you know, after the base hit the center field, Mitch has got to come up and hit the cutoff man, and he's just try to keep the double play in order. When he comes up, it just really airmails this, and that allows Johnson to go to second base, and then a long throw from Olivo back to second base, and then a smart base running by Jack Wilson to score.
Well, score that one.
Whoa.
There's no RBI because Jack Wilson had stopped at third base with the throw to the plate, so he simply just comes home on the throws.
Well, it essentially amounts to a freebie.
And with all the throws, Rob Johnson's single puts him over at third base.
And that's something that we've seen pretty much on a regular basis this year, is when one thing goes wrong, it leads to something else wrong. Rather than one of the players saying, "Look, you know, let's stop this right now." Being able to see spacing between the base runner and your throw, whether or not you think you have a chance or not. But like I said, Mitch made the mistake of overthrowing the cutoff man. Then Olivo made a mistake of trying to throw down to second base, which allowed Jack Wilson to score from third, because you have to check the guy at third before you make the throw to second base.
It's 2-2 on Michael Saunders, who has scored twice tonight and 4 times in the first 2 games. Three and 2. So make it 18 runs for Seattle in the first 2 games after scoring 2 in a 2-game series back here in May. But at that time, the Royals led the American League in ERA. Coming in tonight, the Royals are 10th in the league in ERA. Saunders strikes out 2 away, and the Royals might fall even further after allowing 11 runs tonight. MLB.com's At Bat 2009 for the iPhone and iPod Touch puts live baseball at your fingertips. You'll get play-by-play from game day, real-time box scores, video highlights, and even live game day audio. Visit Royals.com today on your iPhone or iPod Touch to download At Bat 2009. Two hits, 2 runs for Suzuki. So 159 hits for Suzuki. And 64 runs scored. Trying to extend his record already of consecutive years with 200 hits and 100 runs scored. He has 8 of those years already. How elite, how unique has he been? Well, 8 straight years with at least 200 hits to begin his major league career. Now, of course, he was a professional in Japan. Prior to him, the record was 3. He has 8 years. Right center, and Bloomquist is there, and that's the inning. Mariners take advantage of the Royals throwing it around and add another run. Minnesota, so the Twins fall back to 3.5 in the Central. Yankees over the Blue Jays. They lead Boston in the East as Alberto Callaspo leads off in the bottom of the 7th inning, and now the Yankees with a 2.5 game lead over Boston in the East as Tampa Bay wins again. 1 ball, 1 strike. Alberto, 1 out of 3, single back in the 2nd inning. Just 1 out of 7 in the series. Sean White coming out of the bullpen with 2 outs in the 6th inning as Miguel Batista couldn't get all 3 outs. It's a fly ball from Callaspo on a 3-1 pitch. Gutierrez brings it down. So 2 up, 2 down against Sean White. The Kansas City Royals, the state of Missouri, and Fox Sports Kansas City have joined together to encourage young people not to smoke, because once you start, it's hard to stop. Strike out tobacco so we can all breathe. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Miguel Olivo, 1 out of 3. One ball, 2 strikes. Sean White strikes out his first. 2 down in the bottom of the 7th. Shaun White is from Pullman, Washington. That's where Washington State is, right? I believe so. But he did not go to Washington State. He went to the University of Washington. Originally from the Braves organization a couple of years ago, went to the Pirates in the Rule 5 and then traded to Seattle. Alex Gordon's been a bright spot for the Royals tonight with 3 hits, including his first extra base hit since coming back from the DL, a 2-run home run back in the 4th inning. The Royals working with Alex to keep both hands on the bat longer in his swing is starting to pay some dividends. In this series with Seattle, Alex is 5 out of 7. 3-1 against Shaun White. Gutierrez again. This time has to come way up in center field. Royals down quickly against White in the 7th. Of 8 runs in 3 2/3 innings. Big night for the Mariners with 11 runs on 14 hits and 2 Mariners with 3 RBIs. Branyan and Jose Lopez and Billy Butler and Alex Gordon homering in the same game for the Royals for the first time since 2007. And the first 2 hitters that Juan Cruz is going to see in the 8th inning is also Branyan and Jose Lopez. Branyan singling in a run in the 3rd inning, a 2-run double in the 4th. So he is up over 60 RBIs for the first time in his big league career. Juan Cruz ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
They had some success with Brandon with 2 strikes throwing the ball up. He likes the ball down, so they got to be real careful down there. But they've had some. Last night he had 2 strikeouts on the fastballs up, out over the plate. More or less climb the ladder with him rather than go down.
Drives it to center, and Meyer fading back. Branyan is out to begin the 8th inning. Not all hitters, but some hitters will tell you a little bit about their strengths just based on their stance. And where Branyan holds his hands as low as he does, I mean, it's tough for him if he's going to start there to get to a pitch that's up.
But that's where I think most of his strikeouts come on. The ball's up out over the plate. That ball there, another inch or so, that could have been trouble right there on an 0-2 pitch. It was just too good a pitch 0-2 for him to get.
Two 2-0 on Jose Lopez, driving in a run in the fourth. That was the Mariners' big inning, a 6-run fourth inning, and then driving in 2 in the sixth. Two balls, 1 strike. Lopez has hit in 7 straight games, batting at .279. His game has really picked up since Don Wakamatsu made him the number 3 hitter. Lopez at times in 2007 would fall victim to losing his concentration both at second base and at the plate. So as a fallback last year, the Mariners signed Miguel Cairo to give Lopez a little bit of competition at second base, even though he has a long-term contract. He has a 3-hit game. And the Seattle Mariners have 15 hits tonight.
You know, the one thing that in our games this year together, Ryan, one of the common things that we hear a lot of is players who have great years, who get rewarded with big contracts, who all of a sudden have to be motivated to go out and play hard the following season. So you have to go out and get another player to try to push this player, which really doesn't make much sense to me. Now, you either got to love to play this game or you don't, and you got to love to play it to win or you don't. So that's just one of those things that I always have trouble with, is saying, okay, you've gone out, you've done all the things you need to do to be successful, have this great year, you've got all the talent, the club rewards you for that talent, and then you reward the club by making them go out and sign another guy to get you motivated. So I don't quite get that one.
Well, here's something you don't see very often. When Lopez signed that long-term contract a couple of years ago, there were clauses in the contract that allow the Mariners to test his body fat at any time. They can have him take a fitness test to make sure he is still in shape, which would include timing him in the 60-yard dash, the 20-yard shuttle, testing his vertical jump. So there were concerns for the Mariners about how motivated he would be, what kind of shape he would keep himself in before they even signed him to the deal.
So I would assume that if he didn't meet any of those tests, then they could subtract money back.
Sounds like it. And in the same picture there, you can see Yuniesky Betancourt, who the Mariners also signed to a long-term contract, and they figured that was their solution up the middle for a long time. Griffey walks, so with 1 out, 2 base runners against Juan Cruz. Everything you knew about fantasy football is about to change. Introducing the all-new Fox Fantasy Football with more customizable features and new ways to play. Log on to foxsports.com on MSN and join the next generation of fantasy football. Now Ron Mayhay throwing in the Royals bullpen with 1 out in the 8th inning. Beltre 1 for 4. Singleton scored in the 4th inning, his first hit since coming back from the DL. Just 1 for 9 in this series. Pretty good pitch from Cruz. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, it's got to be tough as an organization when you have a player with talent that can help you win. He's young. You'd like to keep him around for a while, and trying to figure out what their motivation is. Is the motivation to put up good numbers because they love the game and they want to help the team win? Or is the motivation to put up numbers so that they can gather things that have nothing to do with baseball at all?
Well, the way things are being described, it's almost like it's the latter of the two. It's all about getting that comfort zone, dollar-wise, but not giving back your part on the field by being ready to play, and by being prepared to go out and play hard, to play winning baseball, play championship baseball. I mean, that's once you set money-wise, what are you holding back for? I mean, it just got to go out there and get it done. By signing these guys early, it also helps the club too, because a lot of times you save yourself some money by signing them early. And I keep going back to the Angel Baroa situation where he was Rookie of the Year at 17 home runs. And you say, man, we got to show stuff for a long time. And then you didn't see that fire after he got the long-term contract. You didn't see that dedication to coming out and keep bettering yourself as a player.
And when you look back on that season, he really only had one good half. He was not a good player in the first half, but he was excellent in the second half. The Royals were a surprising team. That was 2003 when they almost won the division. Chance for 2. Out at second, and a double play. So Cruz throwing a scoreless 8th.
The bench court over the tee.
Jack Hanahan taking over at shortstop. From the world-renowned academic and athletic institution, the University of Minnesota. And Garrett Olson in the pitch. Garrett Olson is the 4th Mariner pitcher tonight. Luke French went 5 in his Mariners debut. Gave up 4 runs. Miguel Batista gave up a run in 2/3 of an inning. Sean White, an inning and a third perfect with strikeout. ball, 1 strike from Garrett Olson to Yuniesky Betancourt, 0 for 2 with a walk. One and 2. 27,805 were here, starting to thin out as we're coming up on 3 hours. And it's been a tough night for the Royals. They've been down by 6 runs 3 different times tonight. We're down 8-2 going into the bottom of the 4th. And we're down 10-4 in the 6th, and now 11-5 in the 8th. Backhanded by Beltre. Ranyan kept his foot on the bag. Or did he? Rusty Kuntz doesn't think so. And neither does Trey Hillman.
Here where it's kind of hard to see with Rusty, but you can see clearly that's one you have to come out and question right there.
2-0 on Mitch Meyer, 1 for 3 with a 4th inning single. Pitch walk. So Meyer on for the 2nd time. And David DeJesus to the plate for the 5th time tonight. Well, you can't complain too much when you're ahead by 6 in the 8th inning, but I would guess that Don Wakamatsu would rather not use 4 pitchers with a big lead like this.
Well, when you got a lead, you hope everybody's motivated to come out of the bullpen and throw strikes. And it's been a struggle to get someone to come in and just shut it down and move the game at a regular pace.
And David hit by a pitch. 2nd time in the last 2 games. Garrett Olson got a ground ball from Betancourt, and now he's given the Royals 2 base runners.
This is what you call missing by way too much. This ball's supposed to be down and away, and it's way up and in, and hit David on the back of his shoulder.
Up immediately after the game, the Rival Sports Bar out in right field. It's Boulevard Royals Live with Joel, Jamie, and Split. A bigger crowd out there tonight than last night. And could you imagine if Don Wakamatsu would have to use another pitcher with all these big leads tonight? Center field, long run Suzuki. The wind blowing in knocked it down. So Willie is 2 for 5. Meyer moves up to 3rd base. The wind is slowly picked up. Not a huge factor, but right field, right center field is not the place to hit it tonight. That wind coming in from the northeast is what's contributing to the mild temperatures. 2 on, 2 out for Billy Butler, homered in the 3rd inning.
They did a real good job of getting the fastball middle in right here, just driving it into the bullpen. And when Willie first hit that ball, it looked like it was going to be in the gap. But it just sliced right back to Suzuki. But he hit the ball very well, but the wind did knock that ball down.
Billy with a new career high with 12 home runs. Driven in 51. He has driven in 52. So a 3 RBI game for Butler. And it's 11-6.
You see how his head barely moves, Ryan, and his eyes just right there right on the ball. And I'd say if you hit hard ground balls, you're going to get you a lot of base hits. And this is what he does right here. Just hits right down through the ball, and that ball just kept curving away.
Oh, 1 to Martin, who's 0 for 4 tonight. 3 ground outs and a strikeout. Garrett Olson, a former first-round pick of the Baltimore Orioles. That was back in 2005. Got the inside corner, 1-2. Inning over. Royals get a run on Butler's 3rd RBI to the 9th. 11-6 Seattle. '80s retro night at Kauffman Stadium. We've had some interesting outfits tonight. Interesting hairstyles. Chris, Royal superfan, went with a white sport coat, some white pants, some sunglasses where the lenses are way too close to each other. But as always, has his Royals cape on. Ron Mayhay is the fourth Royals pitcher tonight. Kyle Davies, in his return from AAA, gave up 8 runs in 3 2/3 innings. Roman Colon gave up 2 runs in 2 1/3. Juan Cruz 1 run in 2 innings. Alex deep at third. Betancourt taking charge, but no out. Second hit for Gutierrez.
By this play right here, we're talking about where your third baseman's deep and your shortstop is deep. They're on the same line, and this would have been an easier play for Alex coming across. But Betancourt called him off and missed the play at first base. But you can see right there, Alex had the best angle. But when you're playing deep like that, if you don't have your signals together before the ball is hit, this is what happens. You have near collisions.
And now Jack Hanahan taking over for Jack Wilson. One ball, one strike. Pulled into the right field corner and foul. Hit hard. So 1-2 on Hanahan, who began the year with the Oakland A's and was traded over to the Mariners. Coming over on July the 11th, a former third-round pick of the Detroit Tigers out of the University of Minnesota. Went to high school in St. Paul, the same high school that produced Paul Molitor, who also went to the University of Minnesota, Joe Mauer, and Major League umpire Tim Cheetah, Cretin-Durham Hall High School. Bloomquist in right field. That's the first out of the 9th inning. So Gutierrez at first, and the batter is catcher Rob Johnson, who's had a productive night. Batting just .218 coming in, but 2 hits, a walk, and he has scored twice. Seattle with 11 runs on 16 hits. So make it 18 runs in the first 2 games. When Seattle was here in early May, they scored 2 runs in 2 games. Two and one. Seattle trying to hang in there in the American League West, and have been doing so for a while. They are 9 games back coming in tonight, with the Angels leading the West, followed by Texas. Line to center. Meyer got a pretty good break and a nice diving play.
Well, this is really reading the ball off the end of the bat right here. Mischel comes right in right away. No step backwards, just come right in and makes a nice diving catch right off the top of the ground. Outstanding play, got to his feet and ready to do something with the ball.
So 2 down to Michael Saunders. Two more runs scored for Saunders and an RBI. He had a big series so far against the Royals. 1 ball, 1 strike. In the first month of the season, the Royals and the Mariners were both surprise teams, and Seattle was in first place for a good part of the first month. Now they've fallen off with the Angels, now 22 games above 500. The Royals in April were 12-10. The Mariners were 13-9. They fell back in May to 11-18, then 14-10 in June. Have been playing right around 500 ever since. Still considered in the race in the West going into the All-Star break, and then got off to a good start after the break. They went 5-2. And now they've lost 7 of their last 11 games. And at the same time, the Angels and Rangers continue to pile up wins. Saunders is down, and the Mariners are done in the 9th inning. Reaction from the Royals clubhouse. Boulevard Royals Live, brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City's beer. Garrett Olson gave up a run in the 8th inning, stays on for the 9th. Ball 1 on Alberto Callaspo. Olson giving up a 2-out RBI to Billy Butler. Billy has driven in 3. 2-0 on Callaspo. Willie Bloomquist has driven in a run. Alex Gordon's had a big night, 3 hits, including a 2-run home run. And for the Royals offense, they come up with 6 runs on 12 hits, so that's a good night for them. But it's been a long night on the mound, as the Royals have allowed 11 runs on 16 hits. 3-1 to Callaspo.
Well, that's a good point, Ryan. They have put up six runs 2 nights in a row, and you look at 9 runs left on base last night, so far 10 left on the night, so they are getting runners on base now. So it's a matter of just continuing to pile up, get them across home plate. And then from the other side of the coin, the starters 2 nights in a row have exited early, and so just try to get the starters to get deeper in the game and minimize the number of outs the bullpen has to get per night.
Garrett Olson walks his second. He's also hit a batter since coming on in the 8th inning. And now gets Miguel Olivo.
Russell Brandon goes over and gives him a big pep talk and say, hey, we got a lead. You know, just throw the ball over the plate. Let him hit it. You know, don't try to be too fine.
You got to be careful. A 5-run home run would tie it.
And this is awful hard on the defense, too. I mean, they know if you throw strikes, they got a chance to get out of here. But you get them standing around, and before you know it, the Royals have a rally, and it'll be an interesting game again.
1-1 to Olivo. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mariners are busy again in the bullpen. Mariners have had several big leads all night. And Mark Lowe pitched last night is warming up. Two balls, 2 strikes.
They didn't have that in my neighborhood either.
I think that guy celebrated the 70s in the 80s. Olivo strikes out for the 3rd time, 1 away in the 9th inning. I mean, for him, that might have been what he was wearing in the 80s. It's 80s retro night, but really that's what people were wearing in the 70s. I mean, who didn't have a Budweiser beer can coming out of your forehead hat? Three-hit game for Alex. 2-run home run in the 4th inning. His 2nd home run of the year. His first home run coming on opening day against Mark Burley. Straightaway center field at U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago. Down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. So Alex, in these 2 games against Seattle, is 5 out of 8. With 3 runs scored and 2 RBIs.
This is back in the 4th inning. It's a fastball here. He just really did a great job on this one here, Ryan. You know, Luke French left the fastball out of the plate, and Alex freed his hips up, and his hands came through real well, and the ball really jumped off his bat. I'll talk to Kevin tomorrow and ask him about Alex's night tonight. He says, well, I'm just happy with the one he drove hard on the ground in left field, because that tells me that he's really focusing on keeping that front side in and trying to drive the ball back gap to gap. That's a good point you made about keeping 2 hands on the bat, because that's where you generate your power. You have 2 hands on the bat through the swing, and then after swing, then you roll over and let go. But sometimes it gets locked up, and the hand comes off a little too fast.
2 down in the 9th inning. And now Olsen will face Yuniesky Betancourt, who walked back in the 2nd inning and is 0 for 3. Good breaking ball for strike 1. Strike 2. Strike 3, game over. So Seattle, powered by a 6-run 4th inning, has won the first 2 games of the series, beating the Royals tonight 11-6. So Luke French has his